Hey,
Hey, how are you?
yeah, fine. And how about you?
Good, good.
Sounds good.
Hey guys.
Hey,
Hey,
do we have the
Hey
TC?
Luca. Yeah, yeah, almost. No Ryan, but close. Um, I think Mike shipped you those stickers, right?
yeah, they arrived just like an hour ago or so.
Oh, okay,
Uh,
great.
just-
I was hoping to get you more, but yeah, I
yeah,
told you it's complicated.
that's still cool. And there was this like I don't know how you call that. Is it in hoodie or so included?
Pull over, yes, I don't know, zip up something, yeah.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah, that's
Good.
that's good. So yeah, thanks for that.
Hey everyone.
Hello.
Hey,
Alrighty. Not sure what the turnout will be today. It's like right before the holidays, so uh yeah, at any rate, it'll be a good chat with all you guys and yeah. Good way to end the year, I guess.
I
Just give it
was
a minute or
just
two. What's up, Todd?
I was just saying to Mike earlier, I think our Twitter, maybe Stacy actually knows, but I'm pretty sure our Twitter followers have doubled in the last week.
Ooh, I need to check that out. I'll look at those stats actually.
Yeah.
But I mean that would make sense for incubation, right?
Yeah. The
Yeah.
last I checked, I thought it was 300 something, and now it's like 700 something. Um,
Sweet. Yeah, I
so
can I can pull up the stats on Twitter and actually see like what the last 30 days have done.
yeah.
I'm more surprised people are still using Twitter. I find the
I
app like
know.
unusable now.
Well, I don't want to be on there, but like it's like you can't avoid it. Yeah,
It's a
we're up
privilege of the
by
job.
privilege. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like how you use that word.
But we have Twitter all the time, and the threads in Europe is, I don't know, less than 1 week or something like that.
Oh yeah, Threads just came out. Yeah. Well, in Europe, I guess, right? I haven't heard
Yes.
much about it here in the States. Like it was really popular for like a week. So,
Yeah, I didn't realize it was like they delayed the release in Europe or something. I guess they needed to get their GDPR
Yes.
handled or something.
That's the only reason why. It just to be compliant.
huh.
Because they want to steal all your data, actually. So
Yeah. So otherwise, what's the point, right?
Yeah. You just make a targeted feature flag that says if user geo equals EU, no threads.
Yep. All right. I just linked the agenda on there. If you don't mind like adding yourself as a participant, if you have any agenda items, please feel free to do it. We don't have a ton on the list, so I'm sure we'll have time or we can wrap up a bit early. And yeah, I'll just people 1 second to join. Otherwise, we can go ahead and kick it off in a sec. So, yeah, I guess go ahead and get started. Over to you, Todd.
Sure, yeah. First thing is KubeCon 2024 in Paris, home of our TC member Thomas. Yeah, we're gonna have a number of people there already. It seems like one of the things that I'm gonna be filling out this week is a ContribFest application. So ContribFest, for those who aren't aware of it, is basically a whole bunch of contributors get into a room and there's maintainers there overseeing it, and people open PRs, work on new issues. Maintainers kind of help them. They have like direct access to maintainers in real time to help them with stuff. Obviously, things don't necessarily get merged right away in the room, but it tends to be like a great place to get started on issues and get people involved. And then in the subsequent weeks, things get merged. So I have a couple connections to some open telemetry guys who did a contrib fest, and they said it was amazing. I think we're in a similar vein. We obviously, because we support a whole bunch of languages and a lot of frameworks and integrations, there's so many things that people can write. They can do providers, they can extend SDKs that aren't fully feature complete yet, all kinds of stuff. So I think we have a lot of opportunities for people. So I'm gonna submit that, and then once that gets confirmed, we'll just do our best to market it to people, to get as good attendees as possible. I guess one of the callouts is we're hoping for a diverse group of maintainers in terms of familiarity across different languages and stuff. So I'm certainly there. The two other guys in here from the TC, Thomas and Lucas, are there. So we have Go covered, JavaScript covered, Java covered. I don't know if we have Python covered with that group, so that might be one that we could use help with. Thomas is saying maybe. So yeah, just putting that out there. I'll follow up once I know it's been accepted, which I suspect it will be.
Todd, I have a quick question about that. Is that
Sure.
also part of the application to have a kiosk as well? And all
It's
of
not
the other things
related.
separate.
It's
Okay.
not related.
Okay, got
Yeah,
it.
totally
Got it.
separate.
Cool.
Any other questions on that? Okay. Yeah, so stay tuned. Once we actually get it accepted, then we'll talk about who specifically wants to be there, who can be there.
Yeah, I guess a quick extension on that though is I think we can have 4 to 5 people assigned to it if I remember right, and if accepted, that would include like a free KubeCon ticket. It's technically a speaker slot, so that's another nice potential perk there of being involved in that. So.
Yeah, you still need to get yourself there. I think there may be some limited travel coverage, but I'm not sure about that. Okay, yeah,
Yes,
next
and
point.
Tom, sorry, before we move on to the next one, Thomas did mention there should hopefully be a few talks too. I know that there was at least like 4 or 5 talks submitted. I know the acceptance rate is relatively low, but hopefully we get at least a couple, talks there as well.
Yeah, and we should also not forget the rejects. The day before KubeCon, there will be KubeCon rejects, which usually come out later, but that rejects there's also obviously better likelihood, and especially about a project that just moved into incubation with a very strong contributor base and something that can be as easily applied as OpenFeature should find its way to rejects.
Yep, sounds good. And I think those the days before, whatever they call it, I know they have like observability day and some of those other sessions could also be another good spot for talks that aren't accepted at a regular KubeCon.
There's an app delivery day, there's a platform engineering day, there's a couple where we could also engage. But rejects, and don't quote me on this. I mean, we're obviously recording here, but I think sometimes rejects have the more interesting talks than KubeCon even. And it's like a smaller community there.
The community of rejects. Perfect. All right.
That's interesting.
We'll fit right in.
I think there's rejects, but right now it's talks that are not part of KubeCon, but that should be part of KubeCon.
The spicier talks end up there.
Yeah.
If you look at the lineup of speakers, these are all speakers who would also speak at KubeCon, but sometimes don't bother to submit or rather want to also do rejects. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Good tip. Cool. It's in the notes now. All right. Yeah. Next topic, Todd again. So go ahead.
Yeah. Next one's pretty quick. So earlier, one of the in particular, a Spotify contributor suggested this change to our static context SDKs, aka the client targeted spec, to make available an event for when the context was changed. So this was like something that was proposed way back in the summer, and there was some initial interest in it. Subsequently, after really working and digging into React, I found that this is basically necessary. So we ended up speccing this out, and between me, the original author, and a few other people, we merged it, and this is the implementation of it in the web SDK. So take a look at that if you're interested. It does not affect any other, it doesn't affect any server-side SDKs. So if you're not interested in client, you can pass it on, but pass over it. But if you're interested in client stuff, take a look.
Can you give a quick summary of that, just so people are
yeah, the TLDR, the TLDR is basically specifically for frameworks like React or Angular. If you're changing the context, which is basically it could represent a user, a logged in user, for instance, in most cases, or maybe like items in a shopping cart, like it's some kind of more static data that is occasionally mutated when somebody takes an action in the UI or the client app. When that happens, often you need to redraw things. And so the whole idea is you can fire this context changed event, or the SDK will fire this context changed event when that context is changed, so that then components that are dependent on those feature flags know to re-render themselves, to be re-rendered. So it's really important for things like React. So we already had redraws for things like something on the server changed, or the provider became ready, whatever, but we didn't have one for when the context is changed. So it would have meant a lot of direct imperative coding to handle that. So now it's part of the web SDK, and it really makes it easy to hook into for things like the React SDK or an Angular SDK, that sort of thing. That's the high level explanation. Yeah, so take a look at that. I also linked the spec PR for reference. That was merged a while back, but I linked it for reference. I think that's it. Stacy, I guess we can pass it on to you unless there's any questions.
No, I'll just elaborate just a little bit on it. So basically we already had support for like when the flag configuration changes. So if that changed, an event was emitted. But this one is like the developer is taking a very specific action, like something has changed on the client. And so we wanted to treat it as a separate event because we can handle it slightly differently and a little bit more intelligently. So that was the reason behind that. We kind of talked for quite a while if we could shove it into the generic like flag configuration change, but we did want to treat these separately. And then yeah, you can read through the spec and the implementation if you're interested in more details. All right, over to Stacy.
Sure, thanks. So as everyone I think already saw, our press release for incubation has been posted. So we've socialized that, and as Todd mentioned, we've gotten a lot of new followers on Twitter and the like. So there's a link there in the docs, and then the newsletter we put together at I think that came out earlier this week. So you can check that out on our blog as well. So I put the newsletter on our blog. So it's a blog post. And if you want to join the actual CNCF mailing list, there's a link in the meeting notes as well to join us there. Also, governance committee elections are open until the end of January. So make sure that you check that out and vote for your candidates. It's through Helios using your GitHub credentials. And then also, if you're not an org member yet and want to be, I've included some instructions there so that you can. That's it from my side.
All right, cool. Thanks, Stacy. All right, for me, this is just a little teaser, I guess, before I hand it off to Lucas. But basically, like we're at a spot with certain SDKs and in some of the more popular languages that looking at adding, specific like framework or library support would likely make sense. So that really would require whoever works on this to have pretty, I guess, intimate knowledge with that library or framework. But that's also like where open source becomes super handy. There's lots of people out here that have lots of experience with different technologies. If there happens to be like a framework or library that you're particularly interested in, let us know, because that could be something that I think really would help the project a lot, because then we can cleanly fit into these different technologies. It can be added in, those technologies docs, in our docs. We can go to conferences and talk about it. There's a lot of nice ways to promote the project, but then it's also just nice for everyone. Anyone that has OpenFeature support then can, leverage these SDKs. So not everything has to be an SDK either. Like we were talking about, some of them may just be documentation or a blog post or something that just showing that it's possible and some ideas there. So perhaps even the better way to start, and then we can look at building like SDKs if necessary. Which does segue into the section for Lucas. So over to you.
Yeah, so as discussed in the last meeting, we started to implement an SJS SDK, and we released the experimental first version of it like 2 weeks ago or so, or 1 week ago, then I assume, as it was last time. So currently we had that deployed, and you can check it out and you can try it. And at that point, it's basically just really having annotations for getting feature flags in controllers, and also injecting feature flagging clients into any like services or other providers. And then we came to the point that we also wanted to have the context propagation so that we can have like a central mechanism to get some request information into the context, into the evaluation context, which we also have like worked on, and we have like currently a pretty nice version, it seems. So it would be cool if anyone is interested in it to give some feedback on that. I've linked that in the issue down below, where we just use the transaction context that is already experimentally implemented in the JavaScript SDK. And yes, for that one, especially, we were also thinking about maybe specking this one out, like making a PR for the spec and just seeing that we get the transaction context propagation into the spec. And like I will maybe have some time on the in the next days or so and make a first draft for that spec. As Mike said, he wouldn't find the time for it, so we can just try it out and see if it fits and how it fits.
It'd be
All
really
right.
cool to have the transaction context stuff spec'd. I mean, I think we can, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe in the JS implementation, it's basically just interfaces. Like the actual propagation mechanism is not specified, which I think is good.
Yes.
I think we'd want, especially in languages like Java, you know, we may want to do it via continuations. We may want to do it via thread local, depending on the framework. So I think that we need to have a lot of flexibility there. But it would be really cool to have that spec'd.
Yeah, totally. And that's like really, that could be the cool part about it. Currently, we use async hooks, for example, for the promises. And I think there's much stuff that could be done there. Yeah. Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for the update. Any questions on either of those sections before we move on? All right. Just a reminder, we're getting near the end of the list. So if anyone has anything to add, I'll link it one more time. Please feel free to add it. But it looks like Thomas has at least the last topic as of now. So over to you.
Yeah, just to remind everyone who haven't seen it that we have shared the remote evaluation protocol survey so if you have a field flag solution and you maintain one, feel free to fill it. It's mostly technical, but it will also guide us on how we want to implement this remote evaluation protocol. I think from what I've seen, we have like 6 answers yet. So it's great. It's moving forward, but if you want to fill in and help to shape the remote evaluation protocol, it's a place to do it.
Yeah,
Okay.
somewhat related. I also merged the guiding document, the guiding principles document, which is right now just the README for the protocol repo. So that kind of explains what our goals are. And that was, thanks everybody who approved that. It's good to have a consensus there, obviously, so we know that we're all shooting for the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one of the goals is to also see where everyone has the most traction in. So you have simple stuff, but some things like are we doing polling, WebSockets, or this kind of thing, and this is what will guide us. So that's why even if you're not a user of OpenFeature right now, it's good for us to know that you have a preference, because it will help us to shape it. And that's it for me.
All right. Perfect. Thanks, Thomas. And it looks like that's the end of the list. So kind of open-ended if anyone has anything. Otherwise, we can go ahead and wrap up early and get ready for the holidays. Anything?
Yeah,
Anyone? Yeah.
we got a good holiday gift with the incubation now, so
Yeah, definitely. Good way to end the year. All right. Yeah. And exciting times for next year. I think we're in a pretty good spot. So, all righty. Well, perfect. Yeah. Appreciate everyone's time. Good seeing everyone. Have a nice holiday and New Year and everything. And yeah, we'll see you online.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Have a good one too.
You too. See you.
Bye.
All right. Goodbye, everyone.